Before, it was always our culture. So healing is our culture and our practice.
I think the ceremonies are very important in building and keeping a healthy community, because just from the nature of them, when you're fasting, when you're paying attention to not doing excess in your lifestyle, I think that's going to result in a healthy community.
Is the health of our people, and that's our responsibility. It's in that prayer. It talks about health, the education, and the welfare of our people.
The Seventh Generation Fund worked under contract with the California Rural Indian Health Board to establish a process that could be used as a teaching model with Native communities in involving traditional elders in the healing process. We called this investigation a process to engage traditional Native American healing practice into substance abuse treatment and recovery projects.
I got paid for it through this woman from Point Arena, and I've been clean for 12 years without alcohol, and it was kind of her praying for me to get better, to let go of it. I don't crave alcohol no more.
I've seen people that were going to die because of something that they were being treated through Western medicine that wasn't addressed properly, and when it was addressed properly, they were able to live.
We were asked to employ what we've called the reputational approach. This approach allows us to identify those key leaders, those trusted healers and ceremonial leaders in Native communities that have a reputation within those communities, that are identified as credible people that could offer input and direction for this investigation.
Traditional Indian healing, well, we have the traditional people come to the clinic where I work, and they come there and lay hands on you. I don't know too much about that, but I know they do wonders, the traditional Indian healers. They do wonderful things for the people.
Initially, we set out a strategy to look at 3 cultural regions in Northern California. One we defined as the Redding region, including the Pit River, Wintu, and Maidu tribal groups. The second region we called the Clear Lake region, involving many of the Pomo tribal groups. The third area we defined as the Klamath River region and included the Yurok, Kuduk, and Hupa tribes. Through the course of our outreach in these communities, we selected a total of 28 individuals for in-depth interviews. Most of them were audio recorded or videotaped.
There was 3 massacres that day. We survived that. Indian people are survivors. Anything that gets thrown at us, we are able to come back.
Each of the tribal groups we worked with experienced a long and brutal history. Those histories are replete with massacres, with removal, with forced relocations, with boarding schools, and a systematic and sustained process of acculturation into the dominant society. Throughout the years, we have witnessed the impacts of that brutality passed down from generation to generation through what is commonly referred to today as historic grief. And this grief has many symptoms in our communities today. Alcohol, drug abuse, domestic violence are just a few of these symptoms that are expressed today.
After 500 years of some peoples coming in and taking over, we can still stand and say, we are here, we cast a shadow, we do not have to worry about us going away, because we're going to be in the forefront. and we're going to not go quietly as we have done in the past centuries. Healing is part of that, because we have people on both sides who are devastated.
Each of the tribal groups still maintain strong adherence to cultural and ceremonial practices. Each of the tribal groups have significant aspects of traditional healing practices that have survived over millennia of time and are called upon today for many different reasons.
Some people say that there are 7 types of doctors, from sucking to tracing to dreaming to singing to herbs to there's a different specialty, I guess you could say, for each of the type of doctors.
We have a girl here that has healing hands. She can hold you, and she knows what it is that you need.
And she took that off, and I started to pull my hand away. And Lou says, no, don't, just leave it. And she took that off, and she, whatever she did, and she sang her song. And she put her hand up. All that pus and all that stuff, and stitches all come right up like that. I wipe it off, and look, you can't even see a scar there.
One of the ultimate values of the bear dance, ethic, I guess, of the bear dance is that when you go there, we do believe that we have in that opportunity a chance to wash so much negative energy away from ourselves, to cleanse ourselves in the stream and use the different plants and different spirits that we incorporate into the dance. We believe that at that time we can heal, not just ourselves, but on a community level.
I've been given the healing within my hands to heal, and I heal my children, I heal my grandchildren, I heal my great-grandchildren.
She used her powers, but she empowered that person to believe that you can find your own life, that you have I'll give you this prescription, and you have to follow this, and you can do it. You go out and make yourself well. And but if you don't drink this tea, and if you don't follow these things, then it won't work. So you're asking me, and so, but I'm giving it the responsibility to you. You've got to do this.
The Shaker Church here in Northern California has also been able to help many people recover from substance abuse and are currently living healthy lives.
But I liked the way the Shakers did. They healed people. And my mother would, she would lay hands on people. But the only sad part is that when she laid hands on them, she cured them of what their illness was, if they believed what she was doing to be right. And then she would have that sickness in her body for about 2 months afterwards. She would have to work on herself over and over and over to get it off of her, because she took it from them and put it in her body.
Some of the work we do is kind of unconventional, I guess. When we pray for people, sounds come out and different things. I've prayed for people and actually thrown up before, just taking something off them, like Melody says that the doctor takes it.
I was either going to go to prison and kill somebody, or I'm going to make a change. I made the change, but I couldn't hold it when I came home. And looking back at it, I knew I needed spiritual connection inside to help me hold what I need, to hold me on that road or some path that was not going back to drugs and alcohol. And so for me, it was a Shaker Church.
Medicine making, doctoring is multi-tribal. That I am a Canuck Indian, but I may come down here, send somebody down here to doctor. Or vice versa. Down the river, they may go to Hoopa, get a Hoopa doctor. Our doctoring is multi-tribal because it's of the people.
With our work today, we look to examine how we can bring together the spiritual culture and the program services to better address the comprehensive needs in Native communities.
Right now, the way it is, people go to the rehab, they don't have nothing to come back to. They come back and the same friends, same things, same old, same old.
Your community, your family has to be involved too. Healing does not occur in isolation. You can't send the person to rehab and then have them come back into the same toxic environment and expect them to do well. Oh my goodness, there has to be some healing that happens on the family level and on the community level.
There's this huge hole that alcohol and drugs filled, and it may be the alcohol and drugs filled a hole that was there because we didn't have our traditional ceremonies and our spirituality there in the first place. So alcohol and drugs was used to self-medicate. And then when somebody stops doing that, then there needs to be something there, something in your life that takes on meaning so you don't have to go through life numb.
I think what we need to do is each one of us do a little bit here and a little bit there, and pretty soon it's going to all we're doing good. It's all going to get to a better place.
It could be language or painting or bow making or whatever, to just support them in their sobriety, support them in what they really want to do. But that doesn't exist now in our area. There's no place for people who are kind of in recovery or who are trying to come back.
Now, right now they use a sweat house for dance time only. I would think that they could use the traditional sweat houses all the time for the young boys, and that way it's kind of a mentor thing too, to where they could talk with them while they're in there, teaching them more about the tradition, teaching them that, we didn't do drugs and alcohol.
I think that we need to give it a go, because it hasn't been that long, and our doctors been powerful doctors. They're strong people for healing. They've healed impossible situations.
You have a responsibility to your community, and you have a responsibility to your community, but accepting that and kind of stepping up and taking on that responsibility.
If those people will step forward and find it with themselves, the hunger, if it calls, and being able to find their way to the mountains is still there. They need to know that. It's important. They're still there. They're waiting for them. They're waiting for you.
We are all responsible to bring healing to the community, to not only just those patients in the hospital, but the community as a whole.
I feel like this is where I can make a commitment to all of you that I will teach some people as part of what I know about, what I do know. And then I'll teach them who to refer to just in case they get to a point where somebody does need healing, or an Indian doctor or someone, they can refer them to people that I know.
What we found is a tremendous amount of generosity in Native communities. Their willingness to contribute their knowledge and understanding of traditions and ceremonies and healing practices to address this significant problem in Native communities.
Oh, hey, Noah. Oh, hey, Noah. Oh, hey, Noah. Oh, hey, Noah. Hey.
It's coming time now where we are losing a lot of our elders that have knowledge of the past and the way things were done. And we need to start acting now, right now, today.
Oh, hey, Noah. 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 Oh, hey, Noah.